Today on the DML News podcast, Barack Obama is championing for Miss Harris even though he knows she's inept. Trump makes a big splash in Nevada and in Tempe, Arizona, and Elon Musk becomes enemy number 2 in the United States, right behind Trump, based on a Wall Street Journal article, which we're going to talk about at length. Get ready. I'm back in the saddle today, and it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Across from me is my son, Denny, and on the controls is my other son, Ryan. We come to you today knowing that there is only a little over a week left into the most important election of our lifetime. Personally, I don't think we're going to have the answer to who the winner is for days. It's going to make people feel very, very uncomfortable. We're going to be going days after Tuesday not knowing who our president is. And it's going to be disgusting because you and I are going to be very, very concerned that everything that's going on behind the curtain is going to be filled with dishonesty and a trap that puts America in a vice grip that we may never, ever get out of. I've seen many different things in my lifetime, 55 years old, many different things. I witnessed 9/11. I ran from the towers. Geez, even last night, my wife and I, and this is a podcast for another day, but we swear we saw a UFO as we sat on our balcony. I can't imagine what it is. It ain't a plane. It wasn't a helicopter. I even called my sheriff pal and said, has anybody else reported this? I've seen so many different things. And none of it shocks me. The one thing that does get me, though, is the level of dishonesty that I have watched take over the government and the media. The level of dishonesty is unbelievable, and it is so un-American. What happened last night on the Wall Street Journal is, I guess in one way, very predictable, and in another way, supports what I'm about to say to you. And that is, we can't trust anybody anymore. God forbid you're somebody who stands for truth. God forbid you're somebody who wants to have all the different news headlines that you should be entitled to know about. God forbid you want that in front of you. They're going to come after you. But before they come after you, they're going to come after the person who's making it happen. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Donald J. Trump, to the left and to the media, is public enemy number 1. And there is no doubt who number 2 is. It's Elon Musk. They hate Elon Musk. Not just because he used to be a Democrat donor and now he's a Trump ally. But they hate him because they had such a great game going. They controlled the media. They controlled Hollywood. They controlled academia. They always controlled the messaging. In fact, they thought that they controlled it in 2016 because they were trying to put Trump up as a circus act, and they kept on highlighting him over and over and over again. ABC News, NBC, they were all taking the ratings. They were going to his rallies, and they were turning the cameras on and saying, look at this clown. This represents the Republican Party. They thought that that was the ticket to get Hillary in office. But what happened was, we all sort of learned, especially the left, that there was a huge disconnect between what you and I wanted and what it is the media was delivering. They influenced the election in 2016 by highlighting who Trump really was and who he wasn't. And we elected him because he was saying the things that we had been screaming inside our homes, screaming at the television, saying under our breath. He was saying the things that many of us were too afraid to say. He made a movement. He gave us license to speak the truth. Elon Musk, last night, was subject to a Wall Street Journal hit piece as far as I'm concerned. You ask what the October surprise is. I don't know if there are October surprises anymore. With early voting, it's really got to be a September surprise. But with Elon Musk growing more powerful and more popular with each and every day, the left, whether it's DC or the media, is going to do everything they possibly can to destroy him. Now, they can't go destroying his businesses like Tesla and SpaceX. Too much rely on that. Wall Street would go ape shit if you took down those companies. So that's not going to happen. And they certainly can't just strip X away, or Twitter as you may know it. They can't just strip it away from Elon Musk, because then that would make it look like the government is actually trying to kill the First Amendment. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do to get rid of Elon Musk? Because it's too dangerous. Trump says he's going to have Elon Musk be part of his administration one way or another. And Elon Musk has already vowed that he's going to cut away all of the ridiculous spending, all the pork, all the nonsense that makes it so this way America is borrowing money from China so we can send it to Ukraine. The amount of debt that we've taken in the last 3 weeks is earth-shattering. And we've taken it on so this way this administration can pump money into the economy that shouldn't be there to make it look like things are more rosy than they are, only so this way a few weeks from now, we're all going to pay for it with inflation once again. Elon Musk wants to go in and use that incredible God-given talent that he has, the talent that he used to create PayPal and to create SpaceX and to create Tesla. These are the ones you know about. What about the Boring Company, which is going to be his greatest company ever, which is able to build tunnels? He wants to make people be able to walk again that are crippled. This man is such a unique human being, and he's a Trump ally, and therefore he is a danger. He's even a greater danger because he is reshaping the media. You give Elon Musk enough time, X is going to be more than just a social platform. It is going to wind up being your movie theater. It's going to wind up being your newsroom. It's going to wind up being the United States' virtual town hall. They can't have him be that powerful. So what do we do? What do we do? How do we strip him from the conversation? Very easy. You do what you always do when you don't have an answer. You blame the Russians. Last night, the Wall Street Journal put out a piece that claims that Vladimir Putin and Elon Musk have been basically, best friends forever, BFF, for the last few years. That they're having multiple discussions about everything, personal items, business items, geopolitical issues. It's even been said that maybe there's a threat to Elon Musk that if he doesn't comply with Vladimir Putin, he will have to worry about his own life, that they're going to take him out. He's been asked, apparently, not to put his Starlink, another one of Elon's great inventions. Starlink, they don't want it anywhere. China wants nothing with Starlink to be anywhere near Taiwan. That message was apparently delivered to Elon Musk via Putin. That's what you do. When the left can't come up with a legitimate answer for something, like Trump won the election because people really didn't like Hillary Clinton, they blame Russia. Russia interference, Russia influence. If you go buy a gun tomorrow, they're going to blame it on Russia. You say that the borders are wide open and that Kamala Harris is to blame, you're a Russian bot. Everything is blamed on Russia. And the reason why they do that is like me saying to you, prove to me that there's no ghost right here. How can you prove to me something that you can't see? And so it's this never-ending cycle. Only this time they're taking it to a new level. Because see, the Wall Street Journal was for the longest time the only newspaper standing with any credibility. But they too now appear to have fallen for the woke narrative that it's always Russia's fault. Russia. Somehow Russia wants to deal with Trump. Somehow Russia wants to have Trump in office. Let's think about how crazy that is. It was Hillary Clinton that gave Uranium One to the Russians. Russians paid $500,000 for Bill Clinton to give a speech. Somehow they want Trump. Trump is going to bring the world to its knees meaning they are once again going to obey the United States as the leader that it is. You think really that Russia and China and Iran, all those friends there, you really think that they want Trump back in office? Not a damn chance. This is the head fake they give you each and every time. So what do we have to do to bring down Elon Musk? Because if he's in bed with Vladimir Putin, he becomes a national security risk. Ooh, now this changes the entire storyline. He's a national security risk. SpaceX has government contracts. Tesla, car manufacturer. How many different, Boring Company has state and city contracts. I mean, come on. Elon Musk, he's got some clearance. And now we have to end that. He's a risk. He's a foreign agent. The left has tried everything to take out Donald J. Trump. Everything. They have tried to impeach him. He vowed to come back and fight. They tried to strip him of his wealth. He dug in and he put on a great fight. They tried to kill him. And he jumped up and said, fight, fight, fight. If Trump loses this election, they're going to send him to jail. There's no doubt. He would wind up needing the radical leftist governor of New York to pardon him. Trump has a better chance of walking on water than that happening. When Trump is done in 4 years, if he wins next week, immediately when he's done, they're going to look to send him to jail. It's the only way in their mind that they can stop MAGA. Because it scares you. It scares me into becoming silent. It scares us into being something that we're not. Chickens. They want Americans, they want you, conservatives, to lose their backbone. Because freedom is the most important thing to us. Without freedom, what's life worth? Elon Musk is following that same trajectory. They can't allow him to grow more strong and more powerful and more rich. Unlike Trump, he's got many decades left. They can't allow him to be the superstar. They can't allow him to be the Bruce Wayne of conservatism. And so here you go. They start with the national security threat. Elon Musk, whether he recognizes it or not, is in for the fight of his life. For the rest of his life, Elon Musk is going to be trying to keep himself out of harm's way and out of jail because they want to take him out. Stage one was the Wall Street Journal article. And because it was written by the Wall Street Journal, that gives license to everybody now to repeat the article because the Wall Street Journal is so damn credible. Stage two is to make it start going viral that Elon Musk is a national security threat. Keith Olbermann, a washed-up sportscaster turned disgraced political pundit on MSNBC, is on Twitter, also known as X, calling for the arrest today, not tomorrow, today, calling for the arrest of Elon Musk. I'm going to play that for you right now.
In a bulletin edition of the Friday Countdown podcast, it is absolutely essential for the United States government to immediately sever all connections to Elon Musk and his technological operations, if need be, to seize his assets, including SpaceX, Starlink, and Twitter X, and if need be, detain him, deport him, or take other actions against him. After the Wall Street Journal broke an extraordinary story on Thursday night to quote it, Elon Musk, the world's richest man and a linchpin of U.S. space efforts, has been in regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin since late 2022. The discussions, confirmed by several current and former U.S., European, and Russian officials, touch on personal topics, business, and geopolitical tensions. The journal goes on to report that favors have been asked for the Chinese dictator that Starlink not be used over Taiwan, related from the Chinese dictator in some way to Putin and on to Musk, and that Musk's contact has continued with Putin into this year. Also, you will note the timeline here suggests that Musk only bought Twitter X after his conversations with Putin began, and that there were threats made against Musk's businesses and implicitly against Musk by the Russians.
So, Dennis, apparently Elon Musk took billions upon billions and billions and billions of dollars of risk to buy Twitter because Vladimir Putin wanted him to. How batshit crazy does that sound?
Totally. The highest of batshit crazy. I mean, Musk's original plan with buying Twitter was what he was witnessing with the old Twitter under Jack Dorsey: constant censorship, different content being diluted. And I think he saw that it was becoming a reflection of what someone like Mark Zuckerberg has done with Facebook. So I think Musk said, hey, I have the opportunity, as you kind of pointed out, to buy Twitter, reformat it, and make it the go-to platform for sharing content. They've gone very heavy into the video realm. You know, it used to just be tweets and sharing memes, but now it's become where we're having a live on the platform right now. So I think he knew what he was doing. I think he likes going into different sectors, such as what he did with cars with Tesla. You may not be an electric vehicle fan. I know I'm not. But what he's done for that movement, in terms of people who are interested and want to have that option, has been great. And he doesn't get recognized about it at all by Biden or Harris. He gets shunned for it. You know, I've always said he's the man who wants to take us to planets. You know, so he goes into SpaceX and he really creates something, you know, unique and beautiful with that. So, you know, he is a man who in the 21st century is an innovative genius. He is. And the fact that we are now slipping back into Russian hoaxes, you know, because it's another election season, but this time instead of pinpointing on Trump, they're going to pinpoint it on what has become his biggest supporter throughout this election, on Musk. It's just, I can't see it flying anymore, even if it is posted by the Wall Street Journal. It makes me roll my eyes at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the equivalent of now we've got another woman, another model coming out and saying that Trump molested her or did whatever she did. It's the same old narrative time and time again. The difference between the next woman coming out and saying that she was groped by, you know, Trump is that in this particular case, they are trying to now make Elon Musk out to be a national security risk. And it's more than just a narrative of, falsehoods. It's a narrative that's actually trying to take this man and destroy everything, because at the end of the day, he didn't like the idea that Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg fell to the whims of the U.S. government, who didn't want the Hunter Biden laptop story to come out. And, you know, I always bring up this survey, and I don't remember who did the survey, but it was out there, and it asked voters who voted for Biden, had you known about the laptop story, if the New York Post headlines were not buried on Twitter and on Facebook, if you knew about that laptop and the contents within, would you have voted for Biden? 17% of those people on that survey said they would not. Now, if the left wants to keep that narrative that 2020 was indeed a fair election, then we must do the numbers. And the numbers are that 17% of a swing would have made it so this way Trump wins the election. So that was absolutely interference, election interference. That wasn't Vladimir Putin. That was the U.S. government and 2 U.S. companies that did that. Nobody ever paid a price. Zero paid a price. So this man wants to make it so this way we can actually have a platform to where something like in Butler, Pennsylvania, where we had somebody try to assassinate Trump, we got to see the videos. We got to see the ineptness of the Secret Service. We got to see how it looked like it was an inside job. If you take that away, then all you have is the 17 to 18 to 33 second hits on ABC, NBC, CBS, because they hit it and they run. You know, Rush Limbaugh used to call it the flyby media. They're just going to touch it and they're going to go. And you just would have said, oh my God, somebody tried to take a shot at Trump today. Whew, well, thank God he's okay. And that would have been all that you would have had. And if you tried to go deeper into that narrative on Facebook or on Twitter, you either would have been shadow banned, your content would have been removed because it would have gone against the policies, just like when you tried to voice up about that a mask wasn't working, or you had questions about the science behind the so-called, shot, the jab that was going to make you completely protected from a virus that was oversold to begin with. And we know that that wasn't true. So they don't want anybody having a message or a narrative that goes outside the scope of the one that they want to plant in. And so when you do that, what you have to do is you have to destroy a person. It's the same thing what they've tried to do with Trump. Remember how much the media loved Trump, how much NBC loved Trump at The Apprentice, how it is that all Hollywood used to make movies and ask to be in Trump's towers, or have him do a cameo, or have him speak at some event. They went from loving him to suddenly hating him, and he did nothing along the way. Trump has always been Trump. It's just because his narrative started to change from that crazy lunatic left narrative. And that's what we all face in this election. Truth be told, if Donald J. Trump loses this election, Elon Musk he's probably going to go down. It's going to be hard for him not to go down, because the money can't buy him his freedom in this case. 200 million people following him on X can't follow him on this case. There will be pressure like nothing you've ever seen before placed on Apple and Google to remove the Twitter app from their app store. You do that without, Elon Musk having his own phone service, which he hasn't developed yet. X is going to wind up being a more expensive Parler. And we know what happened to Parler. Parler's gone, never to come back again. And that's what it is that we're looking at if Trump loses this election, just for Elon Musk alone.
And I think that's what a lot of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome opponents don't realize. It's not just necessarily Trump that gets attacked and hit with these unfair challenges that are imposed on him. It is people around him like Elon Musk. And for more examples, we just saw what happened with Rudy Giuliani getting literally his life taken from him in a very, not exaggerating. I mean, we read that article. He's got his, I think, a grandfather accessory that was taken from him, along with other major personal items. Like, he's basically being debanked. That's the term, debanked.
Let's just give people who are unfamiliar with it, you're talking about, a quick synopsis. A year ago, there was a federal court case, to which Rudy Giuliani lost, where two election workers, females from Georgia, sued him for defamation. All right? So whether Rudy is guilty or not guilty, whether what he said was true or untrue about these two women, it's a defamation case.
Yes.
All right? And a defamation case is always hard to prove. So if somebody were to say something bad about me, especially if you're a public figure, and I say, hey, I'm going to sue you for $100 million, I would have the burden of proving that what I do for a living is worth $100 million. And truth be told, I've never made $100 million doing what I'm doing. It would be unsubstantiated. So in this particular case, the federal government winds up awarding these two women a combined $150 million for what Rudy Giuliani said about them and said about the election and how it is that, they played a role in it. So with that being the case, $150 million is impossible for Rudy Giuliani to pay. So over the past year, these two women have been trying to collect from him. They've been unsuccessful in doing so. And a judge winds up telling Rudy Giuliani that he has to basically give up his every possession, including, like you said, a family heirloom, his television set, his furniture, his penthouse in New York, the whole nine yards. They are stripping this man of everything he has, even his World Series rings that he got from the Yankees, that he gave as a gift to his son. They're trying to strip that back. They want to take, he says that, hey, I live full time, or I should say, he goes back and forth. But if he's here for 6 months one day, Florida becomes his main residence. He's got a place in Palm Beach. They want to take that away from him too. They want this man living in a tent.
Yes. So you have him targeted. Tulsi Gabbard shows her support for Trump, and she's put on a watch list that's usually reserved for terrorists. RFK Jr. switches over to Trump. He's denied Secret Service when he comes from one of the biggest political families. And after he gave his support, more hit pieces about, if he's got a brain parasite. So anyone, and that's the thing, take away the Trump support, right? RFK, again, part of a big legacy. Tulsi Gabbard used to be a Democrat. Rudy Giuliani is earmarked as the man who saved New York. So all these accomplishments that they had in their own realms are now scrapped because they simply said, hey, I think Trump is actually the better candidate here.
Let's take this to the next level. You talked about, Kennedy Jr. Well, he's been touring now with Trump, and the left will tell you, in the same way that the left now is going to tell you that Elon Musk is a national security threat, they're trying to tell you that Trump is going to take the military and turn it on people who didn't vote for him. Where they get this from, I have no idea, because let's remember, half the country didn't vote for him in 2016, and that never happened, but they come up with these narratives regardless of, facts don't matter, right? Listen to what it is that RFK just announced the other day about what it is that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are allegedly doing now with, the military and American citizens. Play the video, Ryan.
President Harris said today in her post, in her speech, she said that President Trump was going to turn the U.S. military against the American public and use the public to promote his agenda. How many of you think that is true? Well, what's interesting to me is that the Biden-Harris administration has done something 2 weeks ago that has never been done in American history, which is to send exactly lethal force, to send a directive to the Pentagon, changing the law to make it legal for the U.S. military to use lethal force against American citizens on American soil. Technically, now it's legal for the U.S. military under this directive. It will become legal for the U.S. military to shoot and kill Americans who engage in political protests because they disagree with policies of the White House. I'm not making this up. Any of you can look it up. This is a Democratic initiative. This did not come during the Trump administration. This did not come from Donald Trump. It came from the Democratic Party. And that's why I left the Democratic Party.
When you take a look at what's happening in this country, I opened up with I've seen a lot of things in my day. And I can't believe how disgusting and dishonest our own government has become. And we've kind of just sat back and let it happen. Everybody was too concerned with who was going to win the next season of Survivor, who's going to win Dancing with the Stars. Is Tom Brady going to win his 7th Super Bowl? And these are things that we should be able to concern ourselves with, because we should have a government that is working on behalf of us, not working against us.
Yeah.
And we should be able to sleep at night knowing that we're safe. We should be able to sleep at night knowing that the people that we've given the power to through our vote are going to take our best interests in mind. And in exchange for that, what we've done is we've given them power. We've given them a great salary. We've given them the ability to only work 6 months a year and that they can have a pension. Instead, what we get is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris carrying out Barack Obama's fundamental transformation. And the single greatest way to carry that out is to keep our borders wide open. Now, I find it amazing that the same government who's going to allow terrorists to come through our border, that's going to send pallets of cash to Iran, is going to try to sell us on the fact that they're concerned about a national security risk in Elon Musk. Kamala Harris has allowed the border to be wide open. The other day, during her town hall in CNN, somebody had asked her about the border. And Anderson Cooper, my goodness, did he have the audacity to ask a question? I mean, the left has been going after him and trying to denounce him as being anything. They loved him yesterday, as the gay liberal who hated Trump, but because he asked some difficult questions of Kamala Harris, now he's public enemy number 3. He says to her, wait a second, I don't understand something. Why didn't you take the action that you just recently took with only a couple of months left to an election to stop the border invasion, cut the numbers by half? Why didn't you take that 2 years back? He asked the question. She couldn't give an answer. She says she had no problem with what she did. We have a clip here of that, a short clip there of where she talks about how, she really wants to have the border secure. Play it, Ryan.
I never intended, nor will I ever allow America to have a border that is not secure. I believe we need to deal with illegal immigration. There needs to be consequences.
She will lie right to our face, Dennis.
I know. And she's got the media doing it for her. Just to go back real quick on that RFK video, when I saw you had chosen for today's show, I had to watch it back twice because I was shocked. And it's true. If you actually look up the directive, you're going to have people like because I was reading a Newsweek article, but other mainstream media companies downplaying it, saying, "Oh, this is nothing new," but it is. It actually does pave a way where if we get a Kamala win and there is any kind of protest, that she probably could use the military to her discretion to target those citizens, or vice versa. If we somehow have another January 6th event, so it's clear that they are setting up certain steps to go in the authoritarian direction rather than, still portray themselves as the we're going to save democracy group, as they've been peddling this entire election. And if I hear that term one more time, it'll drive me crazy. But now you have her on Anderson Cooper, and this should just be an easy toss-up. I mean, it's Anderson Cooper, and she can't do it. She literally can't do it. And I can't wait to play the other clip we have of her later on, because some of the questions that he even asked her were meant to be just so easy to humanize her, maybe for an audience that finds her to be, a dunce or low IQ, and she just can't do it. It's almost like there's a part of her brain that says, you're incapable of actually answering a direct question. She just can't do it.
Well, she won't do it as well, because remember there was always a plan in what they did at the border. If you're going to fundamentally transform the United States of America, you've got to change the complexity of it. You have to change who it is that American citizens are. And so when you leave the borders wide open and you flood it with illegal aliens who eventually you want to give amnesty to, you lock in a vote for a Democrat forever. If you take a look at the charts that we've been putting up here and we have up here now, if you take a look at what it is that the Biden administration and Harris and Mayorkas did, they were flying in people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. They were doing it by numbers that will just break your neck when you look at it. You can't believe it. And they're dumping them in Trump strongholds. Now, why are they doing this? Why are they dumping so many people? Because what they want to do is they want to get these people legalized. They want them to be able to vote. And when they vote, they're going to change the red states to blue states. And we will never, ever, ever win another election again. And the problem with this is that they have turned this country into the third world. And God forbid you say it, you're a racist. Well, Trump has absolutely no problem in telling the truth. Let's get the video up of what Trump just said yesterday about the United States turning itself into a garbage can.
When Kamala came in, she deliberately dismantled our border and threw open the gates. She threw them open. The gates to an invasion of criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions, from all over the world, from Venezuela to the Congo in Africa. A lot of people coming out of the Congo, not just South America. They're coming from 181 countries as of yesterday. Right, and we're a dumping ground. We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to her. We're like a garbage can. It's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
Barack Obama is a cunning human being. He is anti-American, but he is not dumb. And when he sits up there and he sees Kamala Harris give answers on CNN the way she did. She can't give an answer. She looks and sounds like a bobblehead train wreck, but yet he's going to continue to hammer down on the fact that she's the one. I personally believe it's because he knows that he's going to be able to control her. Absolutely 100%. But he is out there right now telling blatant lies to people, trying to take credit for Trump's very strong, best of its class in my life economy, and then trying to make it sound as if Trump is the problem of everything, between the open borders, you name it. He knew Obama. He knew that he needed to have open borders and able to transform this country like he promised he would. This guy now sounds completely unhinged. Let's take a listen because now he is absolutely performing on stage for Kamala Harris, drawing in bigger numbers because he's the celebrity for the left. Let's listen to what he had to say about Trump's economy.
I've heard people say this, right? I'll talk to them. Why would you think about voting for this guy? Well, I remember the economy when he first came in. It was pretty good. Yeah, it was good because it was my economy. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me. And then I handed over 75 straight months of job growth to Donald Trump. And all he did was give tax cuts to folks who didn't need it, drove up the deficit in the process, and now he wants to do it again. You can't give him credit for that. And then I hear, the other thing I hear, some folks will be like, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No, y'all know, because I've heard this. I know y'all, some of you heard that. Hey, let me make sure y'all understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our name on it because it wasn't about feeding our egos. It wasn't about advancing our politics. It was about helping people. That's the difference. Don't be giving them credit for that. Come on. He sent you a check. Do not fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled. Don't get fooled.
You know, he sits there and he talks about Trump's ego, and yet he goes on about how it is that Trump took his economy.
Yeah. Look, you know, I'm just like you. I am no fan of Barack Obama there. But one thing that he has always done, and you just kind of mentioned it, is he's always been someone, even though I can't stand his policies or anything he advocates, he always keeps his cool. You know, he's the king of the Democrats, the well-mannered, first black president. I feel like ever since he had that event with the black men voters from 2 weeks back, every rally he's gone to for her or media appearance, he has almost gone the unhinged route. Like he just seems like he's losing his cool. And it's almost like that guy, you know, who's always kept his cool. Then all of a sudden he starts to spiral a little bit like, geez, okay. And it's very clear because I think he knows after something like CNN, oh, wow, she's not resonating with anyone. Like she is tanking. I got to pull in the Obama card to save this campaign. I quote it as OBAMALA. Like that's kind of the whole thing. And we don't even have the clip on it, but Anita did the report today. Hillary Clinton, goes on CNN with Caitlin Collins, and they've done this before, but they're really hammering in on the Trump is Hitler rhetoric, which is just ridiculous. And I think he speaks at Madison Square Garden next week, and they're trying to equate it to Hitler's 1939 speech when he was there. And it's just not working. And I think the reason it pisses me off so much with all the illegal immigrants they're shuffling in is because I think we have seen a very big shift of people who voted for hope and change in 2008 and have realized 15 years later. I mean, Ryan even said it before the show when he's cutting the clips. You know, how long can you run on that message when you realize it's just a load of BS? So I think you have a lot of American voters who don't want Obama, don't want another Biden, don't want Kamala, and are going for Trump. And yet, because we have all these illegals we are shuffling in who are somehow going to have these voting privileges, especially in very liberal blue states, it's going to offset that. And it just frustrates me because I think, you know, as much as Obama wants to say this is going to be a close one, I don't think it's close at all. I think you have your radicals out there in a 20%, maybe 30% demographic that will always be blue. But I really think you have 60, 70% of the country that says, let's get Trump back in here because what's happening now, especially these last 4 years, it's not working.
No. You know, the New York Times just put out their last poll before the election. And there's an article today on the New York Times that says that based on their poll, it's neck and neck at 48-48. And they believe that this really bodes poorly for Kamala Harris, because usually it's been that the Democrats of years past have been winning the popular vote, but losing the electoral. And in this particular case, they can't even take the popular vote. How can you? You got a woman who can't give a single answer. There's not one straight answer she's given. The only answer she gives that I really truly believe that she believes is that she is flawless. And Anderson Cooper asked her about, you know, any mistakes that you've made or whatever it may be. We've got that clip here. I mean, I couldn't believe, I mean, show little humility, you know, say something, you know, but you know, not her. Play the clip, Ryan.
Is there something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, you know, if you've ever parented a child, you know, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues. And I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
I'll give you all the money in my bank account, which really isn't much, but I'll give you all the money in my bank account if you can even interpret what that answer was.
You can't interpret any answer that she gives because, you know what? Like I said, she's not a very intelligent person. She doesn't understand the issues. That's why she can never give an answer. You know, everybody always has one thing that they're really powerful on. You know, like everybody's got one set of expertise. So if I were to ask Trump about any particular item, he'd be able to give me a little bit of a BS answer just about on everything, just dabble, whatever it may be, especially when he first started. I remember when he first started, he was at a speech in Iowa that I wanted to be invited to, and I didn't get the invite to go to. And it was a big, huge fight between me and Congressman King. But I was sitting there in the audience listening to him, and Trump was reading off a page, and he didn't really know a lot about Obamacare. He didn't know the nuances and stuff. But if I would have asked Trump about housing and how to build more houses in the United States, he would have been able to give me a rock solid answer because that's his wheelhouse. She has no topic in her wheelhouse. You can't ask anything of her and get back a solid answer. Nothing at all. And this is why, I mean, you can only hide yourself for so long, just like Biden. They tried to cover up on the fact that he wasn't all there in the brain. And eventually the truth comes to the top. And Elon Musk allows that truth to be exposed. We're watching this now with Kamala Harris. The truth is coming to the top. Now, Hollywood, you've got some people who are still running cover for her, because that's what they're going to do. That's what the narrative says. But you and I know that there are a lot of people, Dennis Quaid, one of them, says, hey, man, I can't do this anymore. This is our country. I'm in my 70s. It's time to pick a side. And if you don't pick a side, you're going to fall off the abyss. Mel Gibson, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, has also ran into his share of conflict with Hollywood because he did the whole thing on Jesus, and they didn't like that whole thing. He was just approached in an airport asking about who he's going to vote for. He shows complete support for Trump and then ridicules Kamala Harris. So this way, you know, he could never work in Hollywood ever again, but maybe Hollywood, at least you got to hope, is starting to change a little bit. Take a listen to this clip with Mel Gibson.
being voted on in days. What's your thoughts?
Oh, man, that's a big question.
What's up?
I don't think it's going to surprise anyone who I vote for.
Well, so I mean, I'm gonna guess.
Can we go in? Yeah.
I'm gonna guess.
Trump.
Is that a bad guess?
I think it's a pretty good guess.
Well, what do you think the world will be like in a second term with a President Trump's second term? A lot of people are.
I know what it'll be like if we let her in.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That ain't good.
Yeah. Well,
Miserable track record.
Right.
Appalling track record. No policies to speak of.
Yeah. And the border, right?
And she's got the IQ of a fence post.
Yeah. So there you go. Mel Gibson telling you that Kamala Harris has the intelligence of a fence post. You know, there's another thing too that I think that we have to weigh in, and it's going to be here the last clip that we're going to play for the day. You know, one of the things that you get with Kamala Harris is you get these fake endorsements where people are saying the same thing about her. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's great, she's this and that. They seeing things that we ain't seeing. But I never see anybody going up to Kamala Harris and being like, ma'am, I'd die for you. Ma'am, I'd give anything over for you. You are what we've been waiting for. You never really see that heartfelt, genuine sort of respect and praise for her that you do for Trump. One of the best videos I've seen in a long time where somebody is just giving that sort of heartfelt thing over to Trump. It happens all the time. But one of my favorites is one that's surfacing right now, that Trump actually retweeted himself on X, not even on Truth Social. And for those people who are merely listening and not watching, there is a man, looks like he's in about his 60s, maybe early 70s, and he has a Purple Heart medal. For people who don't know what a Purple Heart is, if you are wounded in war, the United States government, military, Pentagon, gives you a Purple Heart. My father, your grandfather, was given a Purple Heart for taking on shrapnel in Vietnam. And I can tell you, of all my father's medals, it was the Purple Heart that meant the most to him. In this video, the man gives his Purple Heart over to Trump. Play it.
Sergeant John Ford and his daughter Laura.
President Trump. Sir, I brought you a Purple Heart. I want to present you for your injuries. What a great job you've done for our country. But I would like for you to have that, sir. It has my name on the back. Is that yours? Is it yours? Yes, sir. It has my name on the back.
That's fantastic. I want to put on my seat. Okay.
I mean, that's amazing, Dennis. Last word on today's show goes to you.
Well, I mean, when you see a video like that, right? I mean, Trump is just himself. I see even that Obama clip, right? Because as it was playing, I was saying, like, my God, it's like he's putting on the accent, the y'all, the Georgia accent. You know, they do the code switching. Trump is just always Trump. He doesn't, he just speaks how he is, and he just does what he does best, which is be a good businessman. Talk to people the way you would talk to just your friend, and just be honest. I think that's a big thing with Trump that resonates with a lot of people, even if you're not a super Trump fan. It's like, hey, he just is who he is. If he was on a CNN town hall, stage, he would probably kick the moderator's butt a little bit if they asked like a stupid question that was jaded. But if they ask a legitimate one, like, would you secure the southern border? He gives his honest take of like, this is what I would do. So I think that is what a lot of American voters, especially young ones who are seeing the way maybe the course of things are going to head under either Kamala or Trump, are looking for. Hey, can we get someone who's just honest about things and is actually just going to lead by example and, exude the image of commander-in-chief? When I watch Kamala on CNN, look, I'm no Hillary fan, but if she had been our president, again, no Hillary fan, I think she could at least do the commander-in-chief things. Kamala can't. Like she really can't. I can't even imagine what she's like in the situation room when there is an actual red hot emergency, So I get very fearful of the idea that she would be in the commander's chair, making decisions when she can't even decide what her answer is to a simple question.
I don't think Kamala Harris could be the president of the PTA.
No.
Let alone the president of the United States. And I may push back on you a little bit. I don't think Hillary Clinton could either. But I know what you're talking about. She has a mental capacity to at least look. If you ask Hillary Clinton a question, she's going to lie to you, but at least she could give you a solid answer.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
yes.
Kamala Harris is just a word salad on steroids. That being said, we appreciate you being with us here today. Let me tell you a bunch of important things that you need to know, especially if you're watching on Twitter or if you're listening on Rumble, YouTube, or Facebook. The censorship is going to go to a whole nother level once this election is over. If Kamala Harris wins, my goodness, it's going to be like everybody's going to be in a tunnel. If Trump wins, they're going to take down everything they possibly can on the left. So we ask you, please, if you're listening, we have a special going to become part of Team DML. This program that you're watching now, come after the election, it is for Team DML members only. The same thing is with our newsletter. So, and it's very widely read, highly popular. So we're going to give you a couple of things that you could do right now to stick with us. If you would want to become a part of Team DML, it's usually $200 a year. And believe me, you get more than $200 worth of benefits. But we are offering it right now until Election Day for $30. $30 for the entire year. That also includes you being able to come in with us on election night and being able to get our full show, what goes all night long. Go to teamdml.com. That's teamdml.com and sign up. Or get the DML News app from the Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, completely free. Go to tab 5, sign up for the membership there on tab 5, teamdml.com. If you don't want to do that, but you want to at least get our newsletter, if you want it Monday to Friday, you got to be a team member. But if you want to get it where it's on weekends, you could get it for free. Go to DennisMichaelLynch.com and sign up there. Real easy. Just put your email address and you're set to go. And then the last thing, do not forget, on Monday, if you are a DML CBD customer, we're going to wind up having one of the last site-wide BOGOs that we're ever going to have, especially if Kamala Harris wins this thing somehow, some way. So get ready for that on Monday. And today is the last day at dmlcbd.com/store, STORE. We've been doing the whole items for $10 dig. We've got Dennis's book that he wrote, and we've got bumper stickers. You go in there, you buy anything on there for $10, big time discounted. I mean, Dennis's book was selling for $27. We're going to give you a brand new book for $10, and you get a free bottle of DML CBD face serum, one of our most popular products that goes for $55. You're going to get it for free. That's courtesy of the DML Foundation. So that's dmlcbd.com/store. Today is the last day. So last thing, one more time, Team DML memberships for $30 a year ends on Election Day. Get in there and do it now. After that, it's $200 a year. Number 2, you got dmlcbd.com/store. Today is the last day. And then on Monday, don't forget, it's first come, first serve on the dmlcbd.com buy one, get one free offer. Can't miss it. And then, of course, if you want to do our newsletter, DennisMichaelLynch.com. That's it for us. We appreciate you being with us here. Make sure you enjoy your weekend. God willing, we'll see you on the other side of it on Monday, last week before the election. Ooh, is it going to be a doozy? Make sure you get out there and vote. And that is that. Let's have prayers for you, the country, and Donald J. Trump.
Today's Team DML blessing goes out to Grace Colbert.
All right, Grace, run with it. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.